Hello, this is video number 9.11 of 100 of the Heavenly Brothers documentary. I'd like to especially dedicate this little insert to 9/11/2001. I know it's been a long time ago, but it still has a big impact on my life, and this is, to be honest, the reason this has all started. My wanting to speak to the people and tell them different things and teach them stuff was all started from 9/11. In 9/11, I was probably in fourth or fifth grade, maybe sixth grade. I was young. I don't recall exactly the right grade, perhaps, but I remember that I was in science class. I remember I was watching TV, and the teacher, we were actually doing our studies, and the teacher came in suddenly with the TV. It was a portable TV at the time. They had them on little roll carts. She rolled in the TV and turned on the TV instantly and was drawn to the TV instantly. And I'm like, what's going on? What's going on here? And all of a sudden, we first seen the planes hitting the towers. Tower 1 went down. Tower 2 went down. And not much longer after that, Pentagon was struck. Oh, that was a devastating day for not only me, but the entire America and the world as a whole. The stock market will never be the same after that crash, after that attack. War will never be the same after that 9/11. 9/11 has been a catalyst to so many things in this world that has been so negative that it's hard to live. It's hard to forget 9/11. It really is. It's hard to move past. There's so many things that have happened because of it, and that are still happening because of it. You notice I'm laid back. I'm laying down talking about this video because I'm comfortable talking about it now. Before I wasn't. I wasn't comfortable. I wanted to tell you all it was a setup. It was a setup. It was a setup. And just screaming in your faces because you wouldn't listen. Now, I'm not even going to tell you all the facts. I'm just going to tell you that it was intentional. And you can do the research your damn self. I've already found the research. I know it was a setup. Who did it is the question. That's for you to find out. Maybe that's for you to assume or guess. But I have my hunch, and I know that it's a physical impossibility for 4 buildings to collapse. When you say 4 buildings, I thought you mentioned 3. I did mention 3. Tower 1, Tower 2, and the Pentagon. But what about this mysterious building that also imploded? We'll call that building number 7. Now, what happened with building number 7? How did that building, which was a block away, all of a sudden collapse at the same time? Building 7 alone is the telltale giveaway that 9/11 was set up. They didn't even mention building number 7 in the reports and everything was going on. As a kid, we see people jumping out of a burning building that was collapsing, and they had to choose whether they would die in the rubble of the building or leap to their deaths as children. This is what we were exposed to by the media live. We were watching our fellow patrons jump to their deaths and die on live television as children. After that event, the next day was my birthday. It seemed like everything was fairly normal, except for the fact that there was almost like a gas shortage near my house. There was probably 100 cars parked or pulled into the gas station near my house. Cars backed up blocks away, thinking that we were going to run out of gas forever. People were panicking about the gas. But there was no gas shortage. There was no problem with the gas. People were just concerned and overthinking things just a little bit. But what did happen to me after 9/11 was my dad got sent to war. And once my dad got sent to war, that's when things changed in my life. That's when things changed a lot. I started rebelling. I started acting up. I started doing things in an improper manner because I didn't have a role model that I had before to look up to. 9/11 took away a lot of things that I could have possibly learned at that age. I can't go back on the time, but that's partially the reason I act the way I act, and I know the things I know, and I do the things I do, is because my dad was taken from me at the time when I needed him probably the most. When I was around 6th to 8th grade, that's when he finally got deployed. And that's when things in my life started going bad. My parents got divorced around the same time. An additional factor that made my life troublesome. I talk about this in my book as well. I talk about this in both my books that I'm writing. It's never going to end. It's never going to stop. This is a remarkable piece of history that needs to be re-examined. And by re-examined, I mean it needs to be thoroughly investigated by multiple people, because there's a million demo experts that could probably tell you the same thing I'm telling you right now. Why don't we have a coalition of people act as one and get some retributions for everyone who was affected by 9/11? The police, the people in the buildings, their family, the fire department, the military who've been sent overseas, the hospital staff who's had to deal with the people. I mean, each and every person who was, directly or indirectly affected should be getting some type of retribution check. But they don't. Why? Because they're not concerned about what happened. They're concerned about what we're going to do. But what we're doing is not right either. War in the Middle East over oil is not solving a problem. 9/11 was a catalyst to the war on terrorism, which was the hunt for Osama bin Laden, which was all bullshit. You can investigate that story too. The hunt for Osama bin Laden. Then it was the war on weapons of mass destruction. And then we go to, there was no weapons of mass destruction. So now we got to call it the war on drugs. Now we're in a war on drugs. All right. So we went from a war on terror to a war on weapons of mass destruction to a war on drugs, which drugs have always been here. There's always been a war on drugs. There's always going to be drugs. But why is it now that we're in the most prevalent places with poppy fields, and we're so concerned about their oil and their poppy fields that now all of a sudden it's a big deal? But here's what you don't know, and this may be classified intel. The military and the government are the biggest drug dealers of all. They're the ones bringing all the opium to the border. They work with the damn cartel. They bring the drugs to the border, and then once they bust people, they tax the shit out of them for consuming that drug. They send them to prison and charge the people of the United States to taxes, which paid imprison the fellow man for about $30,000 a year. And then anybody who gets caught with even a gram of a substance that they're bringing tons of can go to jail. They're manipulating the system. And they're telling you that it's ISIS that we're fighting. But what's ISIS doing? ISIS is just a regime of people who are probably pissed off that America in their home country, and they're blowing the shit up and they're killing their families and their friends. If we had people like ISIS, we'll call Pakistan ISIS. If we had ISIS over here and Pakistan over here, what do you think we would do? We would have martial law. We would squad up with our friends and family, and we would take them fuckers out, regardless if we had military or not. So, look at what 9/11 has done. Not only has it killed thousands of lives during the time of the incident, but it's also killing lives every single day. Because it created a war on drugs that we've been battling since the 70s. And we're never going to win. The only way we're going to win is if we legalize it and we figure out how to help people get away from their addictions. And that might be a secret too that they don't want you to know. I don't know. I don't care. I'm gonna let them know first and foremost that I don't care what they say, because I know I've been lied to, and I know I've been manipulated to believe what's not true. And so have you. This is exactly how they do it. They convince people that something's one way on the media, and then you find out later on that it's not like that. Why would they want to deceive people about something so serious? What is the underlying cause of what were they hiding? Were they hiding that big insurance check that they got for $1 trillion? Were they hiding the mission they just called off, which would represent a simulated hijacked plane, and then how we could reprimand that plane being called off right before the attacks? Or was it Hillary, or was it the president, or what was it? But it's 11 minutes now, so I gotta go.